Where would the war likely spread, though? Because I heard, well, for example, Saudi Arabia said that they would want to stay out of this. That is, they wouldn't want Americans to use their airspace, for example. While countries like Bahrain has warned that they will not stay silent if the war is taking to them. Perhaps not the most powerful country in the region, of course. But how do you see where might this war actually be fought then?
Well, I think the elites in these tiny Arab dictatorships in the Persian Gulf will probably be the first to flee. They have already taken many, many billions of dollars out of the country, and they have estates and palaces across Europe and North America. So they won't be around to see the war. I think that you're going to see a collapse in these regimes. I think, and also Hamas put out a statement saying that a war against Iran is a war against the entire Islamic world. I don't think that, there's any way for me to envisage what the boundaries will be. But what I can say, Glenn, is that for Iran and the resistance and the axis of resistance, it will be a fight for survival. It will be an existential war. For the United States, it will be a war of choice. And so, obviously, when it's an existential war, you're going to fight very differently than for that entity that just chose to carry out this war because Netanyahu and the Zionists and the Zionist lobby, they wanted it. It's a very different thing. And I think the circumstances for such a war today are very different than after 9/11. Um, Overwhelmingly, people in the United States are against war. They're tired. The economic situation is not good. And I think the Epstein files, ironically, have created a new level of distrust. And so, if there is war, people are going to point fingers very swiftly at the Israeli regime, the Zionist lobby, at a time when they're becoming increasingly unpopular, especially among the youth. So, a war against Iran, uh, where American soldiers are dying and where the price of gasoline and energy goes through the roof, at a time when the Epstein files are being one by one uh, revealed to the public, at least those that haven't been redacted or hidden from the public view. I don't think that is a combination that will allow Trump to go on for very long. I think it would lead to a swift end to his presidency, and I don't think, and I can't, of course, predict the future, but I don't think that they can continue a war for very long under such circumstances. So Iran will pull no punches. They will hit as hard as possible to make it very painful and for the elites in Washington to be forced to back off as swiftly as possible. And as the world economy collapses, everyone will blame Trump and the Israeli regime and Zionism. It won't look good for them anywhere.
Well, if we want to get, I guess, insights into what direction the United States is taking, it's, I guess, a good indicator would be to look at the recent meeting between Netanyahu and Trump. I was wanted to know what your takeaway is here in terms of how that meeting went. I've seen some belligerent rhetoric come out afterwards, but again, this it's hard to read the language of Trump because, well, it's often deceptive by intention and it tends to swing a bit different direction, on the same day. So, how do you see this meeting as having gone? I assume that a key purpose would be for Netanyahu to make sure that, yeah, the U.S. was still on the path towards increasing pressure, if not attacking Iran.
Well, at least on the surface, it appears that Trump doesn't want war for now. It could be for one of two reasons. One is that he knows what this would mean, and it would mean the end of his presidency. Or but still, either he doesn't want it, or he wants to bring in more assets into the region, a second aircraft carrier into the region. so that maybe that will tilt the balance, which it won't. There's no doubt it won't. The vulnerability of the U.S. and its allies in the Persian Gulf region is just too great. Anyone who's been to the Persian Gulf would know that there's no way that any of these assets can be protected. But in any case, it could be that he wants to bring in more assets. But either way, um, it's exactly as you said. Trump changes his position very easily. He flip flops. We don't know what they have on him in the Epstein files, what files the Israelis have that that the Americans don't have. Uh, we don't know anything really, and so the assumption in Tehran is that we have to be prepared for war. If you look at the way in which Netanyahu spoke upon leaving, it seems that he was not happy. If you look at Trump's Truth Social statement, it seems as if that he was, for the time being, insistent that there uh, would not be military strikes. But then again, we were negotiating with the United States uh, before the 12-day war. On day one, Witkoff said that the U.S. will recognize enrichment for Iran. The Iranians saw that as a positive step. Then, the second meeting, he moved the goalposts and kept moving the goalposts. And then between the fifth round and the sixth round, the United States and the Israeli regime they conspired to secretly carry out an attack on Iran. So for Iran, negotiations or statements from Washington really mean nothing. They're just going to prepare for war and see how things play out. But on another note, I think what is important to keep in mind is that time is not on the side of Trump either, because every day we move closer to midterm elections in the United States, and things are not looking well for Trump. And if Trump attacks Iran, even if he succeeds in killing a lot of people and their families and leaders and their children and their grandchildren and their neighbors, and we have a constitution, and the leadership will not be a problem. Iran will continue to fight the war, and the armed forces have been told how to fight uh, on their own, and the underground missile bases, which are in their hundreds, and which have been improved dramatically over the past 8-9 months, thanks to the experience that they've gained during the war, they will continue to fire away. And the anti-ship missiles, the submarines, the speedboats, thousands of, I don't know how many speedboats they have, but they will all carry out asymmetrical warfare. So Trump will not have a short war. It will not be a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day affair. Iran will destroy and destroy and destroy until the global economy crashes and until the United States backs off. Trump can declare some sort of token victory, but at the every day that we move forward, we're moving in closer towards the midterm elections, and a war like that would be catastrophic for not just Trump, but it would be catastrophic for all those who are bound to Trump.